Good morning. Well, it's not raining this morning. Last night when I looked at my phone, it said it was going to be raining this morning. So we're going to fuel up the 9R and head to Berkey and start running the ripper down there, assuming that the ground's good and dry enough, which it should be at this point, and see how far we can get before it either rains or we're going to work there all day. So let's see. Hopefully Dad or Phil can finish the discing up this morning. We're adding some fuel treatment stuff. We've been using this stuff for a long time, for years. Sometimes I put it in, sometimes I don't. But on the advice of my John Deere tech, who said it sounds like we have maybe a rough injector or something sounded rough, said you should use some fuel treatment cleaner stuff. So we're dumping it in. This is Lucas fuel treatment injector cleaner. Supposed to be a quart to the 100 gallons. It's a 300 and some gallon tank, so we just put a whole gallon in. It'll be fine. We put in 270 gallons of fuel here. No doubt that tillage is expensive. We burn a lot of fuel doing it. We wouldn't do it if we didn't think it helped our yields and was a necessary thing for our ground. So let's head to Berkey. Oh, we made it. Turn off my time lapse. About halfway down here, we started getting that air throttle code again. And I think it's a wiring connection because it comes and goes. Let's see if I rev it up if it comes back. Right there. Air throttle, valve position, sensor circuit fault. That's the one where I think that there's a connection. When I talked to Dad last night, he said when he looked at it, he thought the connector was broken, and so he had zip tied it all together, and it ran fine for me yesterday, but then about halfway down here, it started doing it again. So I decided to come to the farm. We're going to open the hood up. We're going to crawl under there and see if we can't look at it a little closer, see if we got a pin that's loose or what, and try and get that fixed before we go and run it. So our air throttle is right there. The wire connection is right there. I was going to trace this harness and see how long is it, how hard would it be to just get a new one and replace it. I don't know where it goes. It comes down here. Oh, it goes along there. And it goes up there and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's got all of this other stuff. So it's a pretty big wire harness. So we're going to try and fix the connector rather than replacing it. Right there's the connection. Oh yeah, it's all kinds of loose. All right, we might have to cut those zip ties, take it apart, and look at it a little closer and see what we can figure out. Well, there's not much to show up there. I kind of took that connector apart a little bit, or the one cover off of it. Tried to pull on each little wire to see if there was an obviously broken wire. There is not. Everything seems okay. I sprayed it down with some cleaner and electrical stuff, and put it back together. Put some new zip ties on it. We'll see if that makes any difference or not. Feels like an electrical issue at this point, though. Well, of course, in the last mile to the field from the farm down there where we were fixing that, the rain starts. It's all right. We are on wheat stubble and double crop bean stubble here, so it's going to hold us up pretty well. We've got lots of ground cover, so I don't think it's going to have to rain a little bit before it's going to be too wet for us. This field is just a touch sandier, especially on the south side here than the north side, but the rest of our fields especially. So we should be okay. All right, that's a different code. I was going to say our air throttle position sensor code has not come back, but this one has. I kind of expected that. We're doing a regen now. So fixing that air throttle is allowing it to do its regen. Here's where our exhaust pressure sensor fault comes in. It's going to derate, but we're going to watch that. When that goes away, it should complete its regen. We should be able to restart the tractor, and everything just runs like it's supposed to then for a while. So it's a step in the right direction, as long as our air throttle code doesn't come back. Anyway, we'll see how we do here. Might make some tweaks to our settings, but seems to be pulling pretty well. Well, the rain is slowing down here, so I think we'll be able to keep going for a while. I was curious, so I pulled up the parts diagram for this tractor and looked at that wire harness on the engine. It's the main engine wire harness. It's quite a large wire harness and extensive as far as what all is into it, and I was just curious how much it cost. It is $2,200 for the whole wire harness, which is pretty pricey. Now, if that is the problem and would fix it, it's not unreasonable to say, hey, we're just going to do that. But they do have all of the connectors and the ends and terminals and stuff listed as their own part numbers, and so that means that it would be pretty easy to just buy the connectors and stuff on there and put a new end on it. That's probably something I would have the dealer do, because they're going to be better at that than I am. And you can only mess it up once before you're out of wire kind of thing, I would guess. So I don't know if I want to tackle that. But yeah, something that we'll probably look into. Seems to be working right now. Now, we're still doing our regen. It's still got me in a derated power situation, but there's different levels of a power derate. Like yesterday when we started, we were at like 40% power, or 35%, or well, probably 40, 50%. You couldn't do anything. This one I think is like an 80%. It's still letting us use 80% of the engine power. You can see this graph here. This is the kind of percentage of the engine power that you're using. It starts at 35, bottom here, and the top is 100. Sometimes it'll go past the top when you're using the like power bulbs from the engine, but now it will not go past where it is right there. So we're using everything it's letting us use, and I think we're about 80%. So I mean, we're still pulling this 6 miles an hour. It's fine. Once it's done with its regen, we should be able to get rid of that derate condition, and then it'll use all of the power of the tractor, and we can go a little bit faster, and we'll see. It's still frustrating, but at least we're figuring stuff out, managing through it. Okay, good news. It finished its regen. Bad news, our derate condition still exists. We're still not full power, but restarting the tractor should solve that. So when we get to the end here, we're going to stop and shut everything off and restart it and see what happens. We'll wait for the displays to power down. And we'll go again, see if it clears it. It's a roundabout. It's not flashing at me, so that's a good start. This isn't right. We didn't respond to it or reset it last year. service interval. It says it's exceeded, but we just forgot to reset the computer after we did stuff last winter, so it's not really. Turn our auto steer back on. There we go. Hit F1. Click the machine in the ground. Now look! It's going all the way to the top or even a little bit past it sometimes. And we're running closer to our set point, speed-wise. Cool! Hopefully this lasts the rest of the day. But what I expect to happen at this point is the next time it needs to a regen, it's going to throw that same exhaust pressure sensor code, derate us until it's done, and we restart it. That should be the extent of the problem at this point. And I want to get that fixed, but if that is it, it's not a huge deal. We can manage that and finish the 275 acres that we've got left to do. 3 days here. If the air throttle thing keeps coming back or something, then it gets a little bit trickier, but hopefully we're in decent shape. Oh, time for a stretch. So we've not quite halfway across this field already. Everything's working really good. It's pulling nice. One thing that we are having trouble with is our closing discs back here, which these have given us trouble for years, but we just deal with it. I noticed that one right there. See that one? She's not real round, is it? It's because it's not turning. It gets packed up with dirt, and then it pushes in here a little bit. Does this one turn? Yeah, that one turns. Does this one turn? Yep. So the hub in here is bad. Got dirt in it. Whatever. We aren't going to do anything about it right now. It's just sometimes it makes it push in here and whatever. These closing discs are going to all probably get replaced before next year. So I don't really care that it's wearing it out around. I think these are getting quite a bit of wear on them. That one's locked up too. But we've had a lot of trouble with these bearings getting dirt and stuff in them and then not working. And we try and make sure they're all free at the beginning of the year. But then sometimes they freeze up. We'll put new ones on for next year. It's a bad design because they're greaseless bearings. There's no way to fix them or to grease them or to do anything. You can't replace the bearings. You got to replace the whole dang hub. It's a real pain in the butt. But it's the way they are. The closing discs, though, they aren't really doing anything super critical, right? So our disc gangs in the front, that's what we're using to size and bury the residue. Our ripper shanks are taking the compaction out, lifting and fracturing the soil. Everything back here is just to make it look smooth and nice so that it's a little bit easier in the spring with the field cultivator. And we're still doing that. So just the fact that 2 or 3 of those closing wheels aren't turning, it's not that big of a deal. It's as long as the material keeps flowing through there. If we were in corn stalks, it might be bunching up and causing more problems, but it's not. It's still leaving it nice and level. We just raise them up a little bit. If we get a little bit of wave to it, it's fine. The field cultivator will take that out in the spring. Not that big of a deal. We'll just keep rolling. Well, this is going fairly smoothly here. Had a rider for a little bit. Uncle Jack stopped and rode for a while. He had some other stuff to go check on. He might be around later this afternoon. I told him when we get done with this field, we'll go over to the other group of fields, and the rest of them are all together. And I'd like to get the pickup moved over there so I can leave the tractor at the field. So we'll see. But yeah, we're moving right across this field. Got 44 acres done. Doing about 15 acres an hour according to our monitor, which is pretty fast for an 18-foot wide ripper. This is touch sandy over here. We're going a little bit faster than we normally pull it. I could set it down from 8 to 9 or 10 inches deep, but I don't really know that we need to do that in this soil. It's not so much about digging deep, especially with the dry fall. We don't have a ton of compaction down deeper, and we're burying the residue, taking the surface compaction stuff out. I think we're doing fine. Lets us get over stuff a little bit quicker, which is good. So we'll run it at 8, going 7 miles an hour on the sandy side, and we drop off. There's just a little bit of a ridge right here, and we get down into the heavier ground, and then it starts pulling at 6.5, 6 mile an hour. Get right across here. So there's about 78 total in this field. We'll end up doing 85 acres by the time we do the end rows and get some overlap and everything, but see what time is it, 1:30, 15 acres an hour. What do we got to do yet? About 40, we need about 3 hours yet. 2, 3, 4, between 4 and 4:30 we should be done here. That's pretty good. Get this one done before dark. We've almost made it to the side here. Progress. What are we up to? 68 acres done, about 10 to go or so. Yeah. Another round or two, and then we got the wedge here and some end rows. So it'll probably take me an hour yet. Not quite, about an hour, yeah, something like that. Well, what I thought, 3:15. I said between 4 and 5:30, didn't I? That's pretty close. Cool. Well, when I'm done here, we're going to stop back at the farm, which is over there. See the big grain setup over there? And by big, I mean little. That one. That's the farm. And there's a pickup truck there, so I'm going to grab that truck and go get some lunch. Since it's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything yet. I mean, I have eaten something, but it's that. Anyway, and then the other group of fields is the opposite direction from the farm, so we gotta drive by it anyway, so we'll see how much more we can get done tonight. We'll probably pull into the first ones, like 67 acres there, and I don't know if we'll get that done tonight. It'll be a long night, but good day nonetheless. There's people out playing with their dogs. The housing development we got over here. All right, last pass on these end rows here. We got this one done. 79.76. See, square fields are much more efficient because you don't have all that overlap on the ends and turns and stuff. So there's like 77.5 acres in the field, not quite 78. So we do have some overlap, just not a lot, but anyway, we pulled in here about 10:30 this morning. It is currently 4:07, so not quite 6 hours to do 80 acres. That's pretty good, actually. We'll take that. But we were able to move a little faster and pull it pretty easy in some of this ground. We'll see if the other stuff is as easy to get across or not. But like I said, we're going to go and grab some food here. Wait for this car while we fold up. Cool, let's go. Back to work. I got over to here to the field, and there's my ride to go get my truck and bring it over here so we don't have to take the truck back to the farm tonight, or the tractor back to the farm tonight. We can just leave it here. We've got this old black Chevy that we keep down here in the barn most of the time, so when we do things like bring a tractor down here, I have a ride home without having to have somebody come pick me up. So we'll take this truck home tonight. Jack got us a bunch of drill bits. Look at that. He said he went to an estate sale somewhere and bought a whole bunch of stuff real cheap, so he's giving us some. All right, so this is the big group of fields that we've got left. There's 67 acres in this one, 65, 60, and like 15 or 13 across the road there. So That's the goal for today and tomorrow and Wednesday if we need it. We're going to try and get this one done tonight. This was where we had our gypsum pile. All these fields down here are stuff that we spread all that gypsum on. And yeah, let's work it in. All right, well, we're going to start working our way across this field here. Got the wedge done. Just keep marching across. Like I said, there's about 67 acres in this one total, or 11, 12 acres into it. It's going to be here for a while. Might be around 10-ish before we would get done, 10 or a little after. We'll try and get it done tonight, but it's going to take a while. This ground is heavier over here. We don't have quite as much sand or loaminess to it. It pulls just a little bit harder. So where we've got our tractor all set the same, instead of running 6.5 to 7, we're 6 to 6.5, 5.9. And if you watch this little green bar here, it's pretty well pegged out almost all the time. We're using all the power of the tractor all the way across the field. That little gap in the bar there is the 100% line, and then anything above that is the power bulge. I don't know what this is rated to on the bulge, but it's 510 horsepower plus a little bit extra when you need it. But we're just kind of keeping it there because this thing pulls hard. So, but it's doing a good job. Everything looks good. Working up nice. The ground's got moisture in it, but it's not too wet by any means. We're not mudding things up. We're not slabbing the ground over. It's breaking up nice, and all is good. So anyway, Michigan State basketball game on right now, so I'm gonna go watch that on my phone here while we work. Way to go, Sparties! A big win in Hawaii in the Maui Invitational. See how they do tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, we're ripping right along here. We're not quite 3 hours into this field. We've got 35 acres done. We're just about up to the house lot here. So, well, let me turn around here. I got a comment about how I never show the front of the tractor when we're turning, and I did that the other day, or yesterday's video. I'll show you now since I'm filming and turning. Fun fact about this farm. This was the original farmstead that my great-grandfather bought in 1926. That was the house. We don't own the house anymore. My uncle lived there for a long time, but him and his wife built the new house over by our farm down here, by my grandpa's. And then they sold this one a couple years later, or whatever the story was there. But yeah, we've been farming this particular farm since 1926. So assuming that we planted a crop in 1926, 2025 will be the 100th crop on this farm for my family. That's a pretty cool thing right there. Unless, of course, you count the double crop beans that I grew on it this year, in which case that was the 100th crop. We're not going to count that. Okay, so we've been running this tractor now today. It's about 8:30. We started at 10:30 this morning. So what is that? 10 hours, right? 10:30 to 12:30 would be 2. 12:30 to 8:30. Yeah, 8:30. That would be 10 hours. We did an exhaust filter regen, active regen, right as soon as we started the day. It was done by about 11. We just started another one. I have had 0 codes, 0 issues, 0 filter cleanings, no problems whatsoever with the tractor until just now. And it threw that exhaust pressure sensor fault code again, which, if you'll remember back to this morning, is exactly what I said I expected to happen. For the tractor to run for a while, I thought it would be 6 to 8 hours. We made it 10 before it tried to do another active filter cleaning, and then it did a derate. That's exactly what happened. So we're going to watch that. We're going to keep running at our less than ideal power condition here, but still we're moving 5 miles an hour. It's not like we're not doing anything. And when it's done with its active cleaning, that icon goes away right there. This one here is the one that tells us it's doing that. We'll restart the tractor and we should be back to full power for another 10 hours. It's not ideal, but it's manageable. Okay, half an hour later, it's 9:01. It was about 8:30 or maybe 8:25 when that regen started, but our light is gone. Code's still blinking though, so we're going to do the same thing we did earlier, and we're just going to restart the tractor, and we should be good to go. Off we go, under full power. All right. We need to get that fixed, but that is not nearly as bad as what it has been, so. All right, so where are we at here? We got 50 acres done of the 67, I think, in this field. It's gonna take me an hour and a half yet. It is 9 o'clock. It's gonna be a late one, but we're gonna get this done, hopefully. It has been sprinkling for the last 15-20 minutes. The back fenders have gotten wet, but the hood is still dry from all the heat and air blowing through it. So if the rain picks up, that might change things, but we're gonna try and keep going. Oh, there's that little detail too, though. We should have it over an hour or 2 hours of fuel in there, but we're getting towards the end of the fuel tank, so make sure we bring our fuel trailer down with us tomorrow. Well, we made it! Just finishing up these last set of end rows here. 2 bars of fuel left, but it never came up and said low fuel, so we were good. Tractor's running fine again. All good. It is just about 10:30 now. I was about right again. How about that? Anyway, we did 145 acres today. That's a pretty good day with the disc ripper. This is we're 18 feet wide. It's the narrowest of any implement that we use for major field work, and we generally have to go fairly slow. So it's not a quick process. This is the slowest field operation of anything that we do. But yeah, we covered 145 acres today. And of the 280 we have down here to do, that's more than half. So theoretically, as long as we don't get much rain tonight, we can come down here and finish the ripping tomorrow. That would be a very good thing. Done for the night. 145 acres. That's pretty good. Burn a whole tank of fuel through the tractor. Yep, that's what happens. So we'll bring the fuel trailer down tomorrow. We'll bring it full so that we can fill it in the morning. We'll burn off most of that, and then we can fill it at the end of the day if we're not done or whatever, and we'll have the trailer empty, and it'll be fine. It's all going to work out for me. So, like I said, hopefully it's doesn't rain too much overnight here, and we can come down here and finish this tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a decent day and not rain, but there's more chances of rain on Wednesday. So if we could get it done, that'd be great. For the most part, tractor ran really good today, and I'm happy with that. So, anyway, now that it is 10:40 at night, and I have a 45-minute drive home, 35-minute drive home, we're going to end this one. So, have a great night. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. There's a pretty good chance I'm going to try and squeeze a live stream in tomorrow. So I know some of you guys have been asking for more warning when I do that. It's really hard to give you warning, but I will say this, as of right now, I am tentatively planning on a live stream sometime tomorrow afternoon, probably something like 4 o'clock. Michigan State plays at 6 again. I want to be done before that so I can watch the basketball game. So that's kind of the tentative plan. Around 4 o'clock Eastern time, we'll think about a live stream. It may or may not happen. I'll schedule it as early as I can if I think I can get it done. It will be the last one from a field, from a tractor for the year. So I thought we'd try and get one more in, even though I just did one a couple of days ago. What else? I think that's it. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.